Think you're building passive income? One strategy pays you less than you think. The other could retire you faster. Let's expose the gap and fix your investing game. Everyone loves the idea of passive income. Getting paid while you sleep? That's the dream. But most people chasing dividends don't actually understand what they're building. They buy what looks safe, but miss how much money they're leaving behind, or how exposed they are to risk they don't see. This is where the real decision begins. Should you invest in dividend ETFs for simplicity and diversification, or should you pick individual dividend stocks for more control and potentially more income? It's not just a yield comparison. It's about time, freedom, and long-term consistency. Pick wrong, and you could quietly lose thousands over the years without realizing it. And even worse, you might end up building a portfolio that looks good on paper but doesn't support your goals in the real world. A dividend ETF like VYM or SCHD holds dozens or even hundreds of dividend-paying companies. You buy one fund and you instantly own a slice of all those companies. You don't have to choose them yourself, and you don't have to keep up with their quarterly reports. Rebalancing happens in the background. That's what makes ETFs so popular for beginners and people who want a hands-off experience. An individual dividend stock means you pick a specific company, like Coca-Cola or Johnson & Johnson, and buy shares directly. You get paid dividends from that one company, and your success depends on how that business performs. If they cut the dividend, you feel it instantly. But if they grow and increase their payout, you benefit directly. It's more personal and more risky. Dividend ETFs are designed for ease. Individual stocks are built for precision. The choice is between automatic simplicity and hands-on control. But here's something most people overlook. Owning individual stocks can help you develop sharper investing habits. You're more likely to learn how businesses operate and make smarter decisions over time. It's like the difference between cooking your own meals and eating out every day. One takes more effort, but teaches you more in the process. Let's break it down with numbers. A dividend ETF like Vanguard's VYM typically pays about a 3% annual yield. If you invest $10,000, that's roughly $300 per year. Stable, predictable, and low maintenance. But if you invest that same amount into a high-yield stock like Verizon, which pays about 6.5%, you'd earn $650 per year. That's more than double the income. Now multiply that by 10 years and the gap becomes massive. Sounds like an easy choice, but it's not. That higher yield comes with risk. Companies like Verizon can face business challenges, price drops, or even dividend cuts. And if that happens, your income drops fast. ETFs spread that risk out. If one company inside the ETF cuts its dividend, the others help cover the gap. It's about stability over spikes. One might pay more today, but the other pays more reliably. Consistency often wins over maximum yield, especially when you depend on that income for living expenses, retirement, or financial independence. Another factor, dividend growth. Some ETFs focus on companies that grow their dividend every year. That means your income rises without you adding more money. Over 20 years, that growth can outpace the initial high-yield advantage of riskier stocks. Dividend ETFs charge something called an expense ratio. It's small. VYM charges 0.06%, which is $6 per year for every $10,000 you invest. But other ETFs can charge 0.25% to 0.6%, and those numbers add up over time. Individual stocks don't have this. Once you buy, you own. No annual fees. But that also means you become the fund manager. You're the one tracking earnings, watching for changes, and rebalancing as needed. So the trade-off is simple. With ETFs, you pay a small fee for peace of mind. With stocks, you save money but take on all the mental load. Also worth noting, if you invest in a tax-advantaged account like a Roth IRA, those fees matter even more over the long run because they quietly eat into your compounding. Imagine the market drops 20%. With a dividend ETF like SCHD, your income might dip slightly, but the fund holds solid companies that rarely cut dividends. But if you're holding 3 or 4 individual stocks and one of them suspends its dividend, that's a big hit to your income. ETFs create a safety net. Individual stocks put you on the edge of every company decision. Some investors can handle that volatility. They view it as an opportunity to buy more shares at lower prices. Others panic and sell too early, locking in losses. Knowing yourself, your risk tolerance, and emotional response is just as important as knowing the numbers. That's what determines whether you can stick with a strategy long enough to see results. Chris is 35. He likes researching stocks, comparing dividend histories, and optimizing his portfolio. He averages a 4.2% yield across 8 stocks. He checks earnings calendars, reads reports, and watches payout ratios like a hawk. Taylor is 34. She puts her money into SCHD and VYM every month. She earns around 3.1% annually and never checks financial news. Her account runs on autopilot and she spends her weekends with family instead of reading stock charts. 5 years later, Chris has earned slightly more, but spent hundreds of hours managing his account. He also missed a dividend cut from one company and felt the impact immediately. Taylor earned less, but her income was steady and she never stressed once. The real value isn't just in the numbers, it's in how you feel living with them. A great portfolio is one you can live with in peace. If this breakdown is helping you rethink your investing approach, hit the subscribe button. One simple click and you'll keep getting smart money strategies every week. Most qualified dividends, like those from US stocks held for 60+ days, are taxed at long-term capital gains rates, 0%, 15%, or 20%, depending on your income. But if your ETF includes REITs, or frequently traded stocks, some dividends could be taxed at your regular income rate, which could be 22% or more. With individual stocks, you usually know what kind of dividends you're getting. With ETFs, it's mixed. You may also receive capital gains distributions even if you didn't sell any shares, which complicates your tax situation. So again, control versus convenience. More predictable tax treatment versus more paperwork surprises. If taxes are a big concern, using tax-advantaged accounts to hold either strategy becomes essential. If you want low effort, reliable income, and built-in diversification, then dividend ETFs are likely your best fit. They let you invest without micromanaging and still get consistent payouts. You won't need to chase earnings calls, rebalance quarterly, or worry about one company ruining your plan. Everything happens behind the scenes, and your portfolio keeps running. But if you want full control, the ability to handpick every company you believe in, and you're willing to commit the time, individual stocks can reward you with higher yields and customized exposure. Many experienced investors end up using both. They build a base of ETFs for steady income and layer in a few individual stocks for higher yield and growth potential. It doesn't have to be one or the other. The smartest plan is the one you can stick with. Because in investing, consistency beats brilliance every time. The yield gap between 3% and 6% looks big, but it doesn't matter if that extra income disappears in a crash or comes with stress that pulls your focus every week. Dividend investing should buy you peace of mind, not create another job. So before you pick a path, ask yourself, do you want more income today or more freedom long term? Comment below and let me know. Are you going all in on ETFs, individual stocks, or a mix of both? And if you want help building a dividend income plan from scratch, the next video shows exactly what to buy and how to set it up. Watch that next. Let's build your freedom plan, one check at a time.